Hello everyone. It has been quite a while. Forgot to brush my hair. Oh well. I was gonna brush my hair to comb it before I started the stream, but I forgot. Anyway, let's get to my channel so I can see your guys' comments. This one here. And right, okay. Yes, we are. Alright. More. Jeez. Okay, there we go. Alright, so we got Aaron, how's it going? We got Ozzy, TYTY, Ty, I'm not sure, not sure what the name is. We got Christianity, hello. We got Mark, how's it going, Mark? And, yeah, so that's everybody for now. TY says, your hair looks fine, Alex, thanks. I'll get to start brewing now. Because I got... It's difficult to get a place for this. There we go. Hello, Mario. Alright. Hello, Five Caps, how's it going? Oh, that's right, I forgot to announce you were here. Hello, Five Caps, good to see you. Today is Yorkshire Gold tea, because I don't get through it often enough, because Earl Grey is technically my favorite, so the other teas, they tend to be neglected. So I just top these off with some boiling water to make sure that they bring up the temperature of the china. I let them sit for about a minute. Tai, okay. Okay, I can say it now confidently. Before I was like, I don't know if it's TY, or if it's like Tai. Hey Ken, how's it going? Irving is here. I'm here listening. Always fun to have a stream. Yeah, these streams are really fun. Nice, Mark. Oh yeah, it is becoming like winter here too. Like for instance, the last couple of days we had sunny days, but they're very cold days. It was usually like the hottest it got was 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So it would just, it was very cold. But then for the next foreseeable future down the forecast, we've got nothing but rain. So it's a nice cloudy day. For those that don't know, I prefer cloudy, rainy, cold days. And if it's foggy, that's even better. So I love the gloom. There's something about it that feels so cozy to me, like I can sit by a fire, in the fireplace, not just like a random fire in the fireplace, or have a cup of tea, it's a really relaxing day. And if I have time on hand, I'll write more of my book. For most of my life, I've been writing a fiction book, but I never quite finish it because I always end up throwing it out and rewriting it. But it's something that's fun. It's like a little hobby I do, But soon I'll be getting into working on my model railroad again. It's probably been a while since I've shown it on this channel, so a lot of new people here probably have no idea that I have a model railroad. I do these tea time streams here this is technically my bedroom, but it's a corner of my bedroom that I've decorated for these live streams. But I have an office that has my train layout in it, and I couldn't really do live streams from there because I was using my old computer, which is quite old, and I brought it out of storage, and when I turned it on again after a couple of years of not using it, it just didn't run the same. No matter how much cleaning of the software I did, streamlining the software, cutting down things I didn't need, getting some fresh parts here and there to try to help the computer run a little faster. Ultimately, it's just an old computer, and it was difficult to even get the thing to turn on. So I ended up buying this really, really cheap mini computer online. Like, it was like $200, which is crazy cheap. And it's a powerful little computer. But I just received that today, so I'm going to start plugging that in later on and see how it works and stuff, because I want to do live streams from the office again and show off the model railroad. But the trick is that well, not trick, but the thing about it is that I don't think I'll be doing any more train stuff on this channel, because it gets views, but what I've noticed is, it's weird. When I post train stuff, a bunch of people unsubscribe. It's the weirdest thing. It's almost like they go, steamships? Love it. New Orleans? Love it. Trains? No, unsubscribe. And it's like the weirdest thing. And speaking of weird, just like little off topic, but it's every time I post one of these tea time live streams, I lose one subscriber at least. So it's kind of weird. People don't like the live streams either. But I like them, so I keep doing them. But yeah, so I have a separate channel already. It's actually older than this channel, but I've neglected it for several years. At least 5 years by now, at least. And there's a link to it in the description of this video, so you can go down into the description. It's called Alex the Railroader, and it's, like I said, it's an older channel, but I'm gonna be reviving it. I know I've been saying that for a long time, but that's literally because the other computer I had was not working anymore, and I can't do stuff in the office with that computer not working. So now that I have a new one, I think by the end of this month, I'll have at least a live stream up on the old channel, the Alex the Railroader channel. So if you like trains, you like model railroads, that's the place to be. And any updates I do to my layout, like when I build stuff and stuff like that, it'll be on there. So let's go ahead and dump a little more of this out. Top it off. And then take this and dump all of it out. Yeah, so there is a lot of work to be done on the model railroad. I have a lot of things that need to be installed, but I'm trying to do it. See, a lot of model railroaders, they kind of work on it at random. They kind of, when you're working on something, 111, hold on, I gotta count the minutes when this is done brewing, or else I'll ruin this tea. So it's 111 now, so this takes about 4 minutes to steep. So 115 is when I check it. Okay, so in fact, I'll do a little timer. Okay, let's do this. 4 minutes. There we go. A lot of model railroaders, when they put together a railroad layout, sometimes certain parts of the layout can take forever to do, because you need to buy parts and buy stuff for it, and if you don't have a lot of money, it takes a while to save up money to do that, and that's something I've run into so far. I mean, I've had this layout since 2019, I think, so it's not done yet. It's nowhere close to being done. But so what they end up doing is they end up moving to different projects and doing different things. But I'm at a crucial point in the layout where I want to have buildings that are wired for light, like they'll have lights in them, and in order to do so, I want to install the wiring for the lights. Problem is, I don't have all the buildings built yet. And you could say, oh, well, just, install the footings for the lights, so it's there. But I don't know how much light I'll need. I don't want to install, only enough capacity for 1 or 2 lights per building when I find out later I need 4 lights for a certain building and only 2 lights for another. So, and it has to be in specific spots on the layout. And so I feel that the best way to go about this is to build the buildings first. That way I know how much light each building will need and where the light will go. Because some buildings, they may have a little lamp in the front of the building. Or maybe it's a 2-level building, so both levels need a light or 2 lights. I know the engine house where I keep the steam engines in, that'll take around 4 lights at least. That's if I don't put any lights on the outside of it. And so I'm trying to calculate how much light this whole thing will need. And it's difficult to do that when you don't have all the buildings there. And the buildings take a long time. You've seen me build the buildings. It's like building a real building. I have to measure out all the parts. I have little miniature pieces of lumber that I cut down to size and have to construct it much like a real building. So that way everything's there. So, oh, thanks, Ozzy. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Yeah, Ozzy's talking about the video I posted earlier this morning about how Victorian homes contained toxic materials and stuff. So, yeah, I thought that was a good video. I'm still working on the vlogs that I filmed in New Orleans because I was there for 6 days or so. So I still have vlogs to put out, but I wanted to break it up by putting a video that had nothing to do with New Orleans in there, because I know people have been waiting a long time to see a non-New Orleans video. And then once now that speak slower, Alex. Now that that is posted, I will resume work on the New Orleans vlogs. So, yeah. Mark says lead paint is bad. Yes, it really is. Jeez. Okay. Did it? Yeah, my video paused. That's weird. Okay. Will Alex do play with steam whistle? I don't have any steam whistles. Be cool to have one, though. Oh, right, so the tea. That's a really hot lid. Yikes. Felt like I was burning myself on that lid. So I give that a stir to make sure it's all incorporated. And then I take the infuser out. Top that off with the lid. So Evan says, when's the next Queen Mary update? That's the thing I was going to talk about. So, technically speaking, I have enough to talk about that I could do a Queen Mary update this month. Problem is that I wanted to do a update next month as well. I wanted to do Oops, got a little bit of tea on my phone. Just a second. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So I wanted to do an update next month because it's the end of the year, and I wanted to do like a year in review kind of update. And when I do the year in review, I want to also introduce new things that are happening so it doesn't feel like people are just re-watching the same thing over and over again. Because it can feel like that if you have nothing new to talk about. As well as the fact that the first couple of years I did these Queen Mary updates, I could do one every 2 months and tons of people tuned in. But this past year, whenever I do an update, or the past 2 years when I've done an update, people don't show up for the mid-year updates for some reason. I think they just got bored or something, I don't know. But they don't show up for the mid-year updates anymore. They showed up for last year's year-long recap video, and that was pretty much it. I got maybe a quarter of the amount of views I normally get when I did my July update and stuff like that, but I did a March update which got no views. I was gonna do a September update, but then I was like, if the March update sucked, no one's gonna come back for the September update. So I don't know, I'm kind of thinking of just saving what I've got for the year in review in December. Plus, I still feel like there's more stuff that's going to be happening even through December that I just want to make sure that before I send Chris over there to film it, that I've given, the Queen Mary enough time to get even more last-minute projects done for December. So I don't know. I think I'm going to wait on it. Alright, let's go ahead and... What? Steam whistle boat video. I don't know. Okay. 2.5. For the Yorkshire Gold, I like the tea a little sweeter than usual. I usually only use like two demi-tasse spoons worth of sugar when I make tea, or a cup of tea here. But get a tiny bit. And I like plenty of milk in the Yorkshire Gold to kind of offset the bitterness. And then what we have, cheers. A mighty fine cup of tea. History on the Lakes. What kind of tea are you drinking? Besides, I know it's black tea, but what kind of tea? Ozzy says, the one you do need New Orleans ship. The one you do in need New Orleans ship. I don't know what you mean. Aaron's got a cold beer. Awesome. There's a new feature on this app that says goal, and I have no idea what that's for. I want to click it, but then what if it does something weird? Mark says, I'm drinking Budweiser. Budweiser, nice. So Queen Mary updates. So like one of the things that I wanted to kind of put in my new update video is that they actually recently completely refreshed the forward curved sun deck teak wood. So the wood, the deck that you walk on sun deck, on the forward end that's curved, they redid that, and it looks so nice. Because before it was so dilapidated, that people could like literally just pick the planks right off of the deck. It was crazy. It was so badly rotten, and so they redid that. And I heard, this is like unconfirmed, but I heard that what they redid it with was teak. So it was teak wood, but that might be just speculation, because teak wood nowadays is extremely expensive. Back in the days when Queen Mary was built, teak was expensive because of the shipping, but it was plentiful because they were just cutting down rainforests without any care whatsoever. But now today there are regulations about how much wood can be cut down from the jungles, as well as there are teak farms, but they've got very limited supply because they don't want to cut down all their trees. So yeah, it's like teak is super expensive. So it would be difficult for me to imagine them being able to afford it. But then again, they only worked on a tiny section, so they probably could have afforded it. I don't know. There's stuff going on. History on the Lakes says Benner tea. That's what it is, my favorite. Excuse me. That's what you were talking about when you said goal. A sub-goal with, well, let's see. Let's click on it. Set a goal to engage with your audience in a new way. Once you reach your goal, celebrate with your community. So pick a goal. Oh, these are for super chats. So it's like I can tell people, oh, I want 10 super chats by the end of this live stream. I don't like that. Because you know what a super chat is, right, you guys? A super chat is like when you donate money to my channel right here in the live stream chat. And this button is like designed to like encourage you to do it. So it's like, oh, in this amount of time, I want to reach a goal of 10 super chats, right? I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't like that, because I don't like to ask people for money. It's one thing if it's like, if I'm like, hey, I'm, like when I was going to New Orleans and stuff, I said, hey, I've saved up for like 95% of the trip, but I needed more money to do all the things I wanted to do. And so in exchange for that, there were perks I was ready to hand out to people who donated certain amounts. And so that's like one thing. But like telling people, oh, like I just want to reach, like 10 or 15, super chats by the end of the stream, like that just doesn't seem right. So I'm not going to use that feature. But 5Cap Film says, Alex, I'm sure I asked this earlier. Have you ever seen the Van Nuys City Hall or Burbank City Hall? The reason I ask is because both are Art Deco buildings. I used to live in Southern California. There's a possibility I've seen them in passing, but I don't recall ever specifically going there to look at them. There's a lot of Art Deco buildings in Los Angeles, so it really doesn't surprise me. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing I wished I could have seen was, in New Orleans, they have this airport right on the edge of Lake Pontchartrain. Not Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong's, way further, I want to say, southeast of the city. But right on the edge of Lake Pontchartrain is the old airport, which is much smaller. And the terminal building in there is 1920s Art Deco. And I've seen pictures of it. It looks beautiful. But I didn't know about it till after I came back from New Orleans. Otherwise, I would have tried to go and see it, because I believe it is publicly accessible. So, I don't know for certain, but that would have been cool. Aaron says, your thoughts on SS United States? She is moving soon to Mobile. I mean, that's a long journey from Philadelphia all the way around Florida to Mobile. That's a long journey. So that is something that hopefully goes well and there's no issues. But that's a long way to tow a ship. But I believe SS United States has been towed an even farther distance before. I believe SS United States, all her asbestos was removed in Turkey. So I believe she was towed all that distance. So, you know, she did it then. She can go around the real United States and stick close to the shores. So I'm sure she'll be fine. Yeah, I can whistle while I work, Ozzy. History on the Lake says, where I'm from, we have tow ships that were around in the 40s, 70s, and 60s, and they were called the North and South American, and they went throughout the Great Lakes. Interesting. SS US is being moved on Thursday, November 14th. I believe I saw an announcement like that on Facebook. Let's see. The Shelton McMurphy Johnson House in Eugene, Oregon. I have not heard of it. Let me look it up. Shelton McMurphy Johnson House. Shelton, let's see. Shelton McMurphy Johnson House. Oh, wow. That is a beautiful house. And it's a museum. Most days it's open 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Sheltons made a move from Salem to Eugene with their daughter, Alberta, 1873, after buying 320 acres in downtown Eugene, including Skinner's Butte from Pioneer, Mary Cook Skinner Packard. Okay, so I was wondering if there was like any extra information about it, like maybe there was somebody famous went there, or maybe there was a mysterious death or something. But it looks like it was just a house, which isn't a bad thing. It's still a beautiful house. Okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can check it out. I don't know that I can make a video about it, because from what I've read, there really wasn't anything of note there. It was just a rich family's house, essentially. So there's no story there. But you never know. Sometimes when you visit a place, they have a story to tell you about it. So, what should we talk about? Normally, I have like a set of like things to talk about, like subjects, but I already talked about them. I already mentioned my plans for the train channel, and then my plans for the upcoming year in review for the Queen Mary update. And that was pretty much all I really wanted to talk about, and I thought it would take longer for me to do that, because usually I go off on tangents and talk about stuff forever. But I got through it real fast. Now I'm kind of procrastinating on eating these biscuits. What are they called? They're called hobnobs. The first package of these hobnobs I ever got, loved it. I was like, no wonder why this was highly rated in the UK, because it's really good. But I bought like a series of like 3 or 4 boxes of these recently, you know, because I have them for the tea times. But there's something about this batch. There's something in there that it's like, the best way I can describe it is if someone took like hay or straw and dried it out and then chopped it up and put it in with the cookies or the biscuits, because there are little pieces of like a husk of something, and it gets stuck and lodged between my gums and my teeth whenever I eat these things. And it's only been these 4 packages. When I had them before that, they didn't have that. So there's something in these that, like, it reminds me, because when you, like, I picked it out of my teeth, and it's little half cylinders of like husks of something. And it looks, it doesn't look like it's like plastic or anything like that. It looks like it's like a plant matter or something, like they were, I don't know, like they were getting wheat out of the field, but then somehow the stalks that held up the wheat went into the grinder with it or something. It was really weird. So I'm like not excited to eat these, because I don't know if like I'll bite into one and, you know, the darn husks get stuck in my teeth. I don't know. And then I'm like, well, what if I buy another pack of 4 boxes? Will they have that too? Like, how long before it's gone? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like PTSD for this like straw that is in the biscuits. And now I get to have my second cup. This is really rare. Usually I talk so much that I don't even get to have a second cup of tea. But the chat is really slow today. I mean, we got 38 viewers, but I don't see anybody. I mean, there's just a couple of people that were talking to me before, but the chat's kind of gone quiet. So now I have all this time. Alright, do that. So let me ask, how many of you have seen so far the videos based on New Orleans that I've done, the vlogs, or maybe even I did one recently. It was a tour of the Natchez, or I can never say it right. I'm very terrible with that name. The steamboat. Have you guys all seen it? And the reason why I ask is because I want to know if you think it is fun content. Do you think that it's content people will like? Because it has been very slowly received, But that being said, I don't think that's necessarily because of the videos. For some reason, everybody's YouTube channel, like all my YouTube friends and stuff, they tell me that their channels have been slowing down. And mine has too. So there's something wrong with YouTube. Like, their algorithm is doing something, because all of their channels are slowing down. And so they're getting less and less viewers, or fewer and fewer viewers. Sorry, there's some people that would really correct my grammar on that. But yeah, and it's been kind of alarming. So, so yeah, I'm just really curious if people enjoyed those videos, or if the reason why they're not getting much views is just because of YouTube in general, which wouldn't surprise me. But, oh, there we go. Had to refresh the chat because it wasn't even moving. Here we go. JD says, do you miss New Orleans? We miss you. Do I miss New Orleans? Yes. There was something so cool about waking up every morning and going on a you know, a morning walk, like like not a like crack of dawn kind of walk, but soon after the crack of dawn. You know, it was early. Excuse me. I have an allergy to something that is outside. It's like a type of mold or fungus that happens this time of year, and it makes my throat super itchy. But yes, I do miss New Orleans, and man, it was so fun. You know, next time I go to New Orleans, which I don't know when that'll be, but next time I go, I want to go for Christmas. Like, we're not necessarily Christmas, but the Christmas season. Because walking around the French Quarter at night when I was there was super nice. It was beautiful, and it was quaint, and I imagine that with it all decorated for Christmas, it probably looks even better. So, yeah, I kind of want to go during the Christmas season. History on the Lake says, oh, I meant to tell you something. Remember when you did the haunted apartment video? I lost my grandpa in 2009, and I see him all the time at my grandma's. You know, I wouldn't be surprised by that, because I've heard stories from my family members, you know, like when their spouses or their their siblings die, they still see them afterwards in the apartment. I've never lived somewhere like with the family member or anything like that where the family member died, so I've never seen that. But like I said, with, you know, like, I mean, you know, because the haunted apartment video, but for people who haven't seen my haunted apartment video, when I first moved here to the outskirts of Portland, Oregon, I'm not technically in the city, but I'm on the outskirts in like a wooded area in an apartment complex. The apartment complex, let me just give you the shorthand, is really haunted. A lot of tenants at this complex, which spans multiple buildings across a forested area, they see things in their apartments. And it's, yeah, we didn't know that when we moved here. So when we got into our apartment, I was sharing an apartment with my sister and her husband at the time, because we were all, you know, newbies. We had just moved here, so I didn't even have the means to get my own apartment back then. But I started getting, like, nightmares of this dark figure. He was wearing a suit with, like, a jacket and everything. And he was, like, really tall, like 8 feet tall. So maybe a little under 8 feet, but very tall. Like, he almost reached the ceiling in most rooms. We have vaulted ceilings in the living room, so it's, like, hard to say that he was, like, close to the ceiling, because it's a vaulted ceiling. But anyway, it was really tall. And the nightmares were pretty scary, because in the nightmares, he would, like, come right up to my face. Sometimes the nightmares were me in bed, sleeping, and then waking up to seeing him, like, kind of lean down over me, you know, and it was really freaky. But I kept it to myself, because I was like, my family's going to think I'm going crazy, right? You know? And after like a couple of weeks, I started seeing that figure in the apartment when I was awake. And it would happen at different times of the day, not just nighttime. It would happen sometimes early in the morning when my sister would go to work and her husband would go to work. I would go out into the living room and I'd turn the corner and there he is in the middle of the living room just staring at me. And then he'd just slowly kind of fade. And I was seriously thinking, I was like, there is just something, I think like I'm going crazy. But then the animals would see it. So my sister at the time had 2 cats. And when I would see the figure, the cats would see it too. They'd be looking right at it, you know, or sometimes I'd be in the living room watching TV or something, and then I would feel like I'm being watched from the living room, and suddenly the cats would be staring in the hallway like there's something there. And after a while of this, I finally told my brother-in-law, I told him, I was like, you know, when we first moved in here, I was having these nightmares and blah, 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 and I was telling him about the figure. He's like, I was having those nightmares too. And he was describing his nightmares to me, and it was the same ones I was having. And then he said, he's like, those nightmares don't happen anymore, but now I see the figure in the apartment. And I was like, I do too. And so we discovered that we were experiencing the same stuff at different times of the day from each other, or at different, even at different situations. Excuse me. At the time, my sister said that she felt a little weird in the apartment, and she did have nightmares when we first moved in, but she was like, I didn't really, like, you know, she's so skeptical about that kind of thing that she wasn't ready to, like, admit that she was seeing the same stuff we were seeing. In fact, it took her a couple of years to finally admit it, because when I moved out of that apartment 2 years later, or less than 2 years later, she finally saw the figure fully right in front of her, and that's when she finally believed it. but anyway, what solidified the reality of it was that, because my sister is the manager of the apartment complex we live in. That's why we moved up here, so she could have this job. And I said, you know, did anybody die in our apartment prior to us moving in? And she's like, no. She's like, I've checked. There's nobody died in there. And I thought, you know, the apartment below us has been vacant for months. I mean, they had such a hard time getting people to accept that apartment because it didn't get a lot of daylight, the one beneath us. There was a lot of trees and stuff, so it didn't get a lot of daylight, so they almost never had people get that apartment. And so I thought, you know, there's no one down there to, you know, talk to and be like, hey, have you seen a ghost, because it's vacant. So I asked her, I said, did someone die in the apartment below us? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, I'll check. And she ended up checking, and she was like, actually, yes, just, I think it was like 3 weeks before we moved in, the person that had lived in that apartment was a young man, probably my age, very tall. He wore suits all the time because he had a very, professional job. So he wore suits all the time. And indeed, he cut his life short. And so that was pretty freaky. And I ended up looking him up separately to, like, find it. Because she wouldn't give me the name because it's, you know, kind of a private thing, you know, even though she's like the manager of the complex and she's my sister, she doesn't want to break that kind of, you know, that kind of rule. So I ended up looking the person up myself because I was like, okay, this city, this time of year, was there like a death? And indeed there was, and it was the exact person she described. And indeed they died the same exact time, she said, and the details said that he lived in this building. Didn't say which apartment, it just said the building, and indeed that was my building. and there's only a couple of apartments in the building. So indeed, she was right. And that's one of the things I tell people. I'm like, there's no way we could have imagined him. We didn't know he even existed. There's no way we could have imagined somebody who actually lived and then later died that we saw in our nightmares and in the apartment. And we've never heard of him before, and we just moved up here from 1,000 miles away. There's no way. You know, it's not like we saw it in the news or anything. It was covered in local news, but we were never watching local news when we moved up there. You know, we were watching like more national stuff, you know. So yeah, it was a really strange thing. And after that, I was like, you know what? There's no doubt in my mind that ghosts exist, because I saw that figure even to the last day I moved out of there. And then my brother-in-law and my sister were seeing that figure even until they moved out of that apartment. And yeah, and like I said, other apartments in this complex, people talk about the ghosts, and they see things and hear things, and there's a lot of other weirdness about this apartment complex that I feel like I'm like, I don't know if I could talk about it, because I don't know if like my sister's coworkers are gonna see this video and be like, hey, you know, like he's talking about her. But then again, I'm not naming the complex, so it's not like anybody's gonna know which one it is. But yeah, yeah, it was really strange. So there's no doubt in my mind now. I'm like, ghosts exist. I don't know how. They may not be the same kind of ghosts that are like, you know, spiritual, you know, like, you know, the kind of ghosts you hear about from religion. It could be energy, it could be something, but there is something. Alright, let me get back to comments. Joe B says, hi Alex, do you have big holiday plans? Big? Not really. Well, actually there is kind of a big holiday plan coming up. I totally forgot till just this moment. But, so, my sister's high school friends from California have also moved into this apartment complex. It was not at all because they were specifically trying to. It was because their life just led them up here, and then they found this complex and were like, oh, we're going to move in there, and then it was just like, happened to be the place that my sister worked. So, pretty, you know, pretty ironic, kinda ironic. It's not like it was a mystery to them that she worked here. But anyway, they are far away from their families. Their families are in like California or even other states, and so they can't really travel to see their families for Thanksgiving. And as for me, I have my closest, my what do you call, immediate family is all here. I have my sister, my brother-in-law, my nephew, who's now 6 months old. I've got my dad. And so, you know, we're the kind of family that's like, oh, if we have Thanksgiving, we're going to invite our friends if they have nowhere to go. So we have this plan to kind of like do a really big Thanksgiving with us and my sister's friends and their husbands. So it's going to be like a big Thanksgiving, but we're looking forward to it because we love big Thanksgivings. Like, we love it. So, and then for Christmas, I don't think we have any big plans. We just plan to maybe have a Christmas dinner together, but we will gather together for opening presents on Christmas morning. That's something we do. And it will be my nephew's first Christmas, so we're excited to see, you know, his reaction to that. He did recently have his first Halloween, and he went as a skunk. He was a cute little skunk, so that was fun. So yeah. Five Caps Film says, going back to the train channel, maybe you could do a video about the Union Pacific Big Boy. I think it's an extremely impressive train, I guess. I feel like it kind of deserves a video. I don't know that I'll make like a history video or like a tell-all video about it, but I did visit the Union Pacific Big Boy, and I have at least one video on my channel showing the Big Boy, because I filmed it when I went to see it. This was back when I lived in California, and it came to a place close to Paris, California. And so we drove out to see it, me and my friends. My friend Chris, my friend Steve. We drove out to see it. And that was the Disney Steve that we drove with. So I do have a video about it, and I think there's like some captions on the bottom that kind of talk about it. So yeah, there is technically a video on that channel about the Big Boy. Henlo says, first day of eggnog for this season for me was today. Nice. Yeah, I have a carton of eggnog in my fridge. I love eggnog. My mom used to make eggnog every year for Christmas, and that was one of the things I love. She also used to make peppermint fudge, so that was something I used to look forward to every year. So yeah. History on the Lake says, I did like it, talking about the New Orleans video content. I did like it. They were really cool, and loved the steamship video. You should do more. I'd love to do more. In fact, I want to do a history video about the steamboats in New Orleans. If you're interested in steamboats, I did a video about the steamboats over in Lake Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And so that video is on this channel, and you can find it. I think it's called like the burning steamboats of Lake Coeur d'Alene or something like that. You can find it in my playlist called Historic Places. And you can find it in that playlist. It's got a big, like, artistic rendering of a steamboat in the front. Mark says, I watch all your videos when I get notifications. Oh, thanks. That helps me out. Bill says, yes, I've enjoyed the New Orleans videos. Nice. Lisa says, I'm not getting notifications. Well, I suppose my first question... Oh, Lisa already left, so I would answer that question, but she already left. Well, not question, but I'd comment back, but... Five Caps says, Alex, my favorite NOLA video was probably the one about the scam on St. Anne. Yeah, that was... Never staying there again. But people commented in that video and recommended some other really nice boutique hotels that are in old buildings. And they looked a lot more reputable than the one I stayed in. I was like, why couldn't I find these when I was looking for hotels in the French Quarter? There was one just a couple blocks away from the inn on St. Anne where I was staying that was much better and the same price. So I was like, I wish I could have seen that before I went to New Orleans. Aaron says, I thought the nachos video was really cool. I like the captain aspect. It was a nice... Oh, caption. Sorry, I misread that as captain. Caption aspect. It was a nice, quiet video. Felt like I was there. Oh, good. I'm glad you liked it then. I was considering narrating it, but I felt lazy. I was like, nah, I'll just put captions. And I thought it'll probably be more enjoyable without narration anyway. Mark H says, I watched them all, mate, but not Steamboat yet. Busy work week, but I will this weekend. Nice. Yeah, yeah, Ozzy. YouTube's been changing stuff lately. Henlo says, I don't like hurricanes. I prefer the West Coast weather, although I don't like the dry, hot summers. This time of year, like November, is nice in California. Yeah, November, December, January is nice in California. I don't like the rest of the year. It's hot and dry, and I can't stand that. And the other thing too is I don't like arid type of ecosystems, dry places. Deserts are fun when you're driving through them, but not so much when you're staying in a desert. And I can't, yeah, I need I need the cold, I need the humidity, the cold humidity. The clouds. I don't like the sun. Usually if there's a sunny day, I'm not in as good a mood as I would be on a cloudy day, because the sun always it gets in my eyes when I'm looking around. I'm outside. I get hot when the sun is on me. I just, we need the sun for life, but I prefer cloudy days. So living up here in northern Oregon, northwestern Oregon specifically, is nice. We get cold weather pretty much year round with lots of rain and clouds and fog. And I live, on the outskirts of a forest, so it's really beautiful. And because we're surrounded by these rivers, we don't get anything like bears or elk or anything like that, so I'm happy. All right. Skylar Moon says, haunted apartment building video. Oh wow, would love to see that. Yeah, that's on my channel, so it's, if you go to my Halloween playlist, you'll see it. Henlo says, my aunt lives in a mansion in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It is haunted there also. Like, they find bones buried everywhere they live. The construction workers do. That's creepy. Skylar Moon says, you should do a series on those kinds of experiences of you and others. I did already, actually. I did a video, I did 3 videos about various paranormal experiences while working at Disneyland, because I used to work at Disneyland. It was my first job, and I had that job for about 6 years. So I made a series of 3 videos detailing my experiences and the experiences of my coworkers there. So yeah, I sort of did. Hello, Lori. History on the Lake says, me and one of my old teachers go ghost hunting a lot. It's sad and cool and scary at the same time. I imagine. I almost volunteered. Well, actually, I did try to volunteer for like a paranormal hunting group, because at the time I was very skeptical. I was still working at Disneyland at the time, and I was experiencing paranormal experiences in Golden Horseshoe restaurant, and it got me thinking about ghosts. And I was like, you know what? I want to join a paranormal team, because they have like, back then I lived in Orange County, so they had like an Orange County paranormal investigation group. I emailed them asking if I could join, because they said, oh, we need people to join. So I emailed them asking if I could join, and I detailed like what I could lend to the whole thing. I could get my own equipment if they need, all that kind of stuff. They never emailed me back. So, and then after that, I just never felt like volunteering again for a paranormal group. But yeah, so I did try, but now I have no interest in volunteering for that kind of thing. So it's weird how life works. Like, one moment you're interested in something, and the next moment you're like, I wasn't that interested. But yeah, it can be pretty scary, I hear. Jeffrey says, hi Alex, yes, have been watching the New Orleans videos. Will you do more of the vlogs? Yes, I will. I still have 3 or 4 vlog videos to finish. That depends, because the 6th day I was only there till like noon, and then we left. So I might combine that with the video before that. But yes, I still have other vlog videos to do, and those are coming next. So Charles Oliver says, the gas lamp live video you did, Alex, all your videos are excellent. Oh, thanks so much. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that gas lamp video because it got a lot of views and people liked it. So got me thinking. I was like, maybe I should keep doing more of this kind of thing. So hopefully the video I put out today, the one about the toxic Victorian mansions or houses, hopefully that gets a lot of views. I want people to like it. It'll tell me, okay, you know, I should make more of this stuff. So 5 Caps Film says, Alex, didn't you used to have a black dog? No, it wasn't my dog. It's my sister's dog, and we still have her. Her name is Freya. She's not black, actually. She's brown, but she has a orange brindle to her coat, so she's very beautiful. She has this, it's like orange tiger stripes. It's kind of cool. But yeah, Freya, she's like my little fluffy niece. And once in a while I watch her. So she came to my apartment just a couple days ago, actually. So she came for a quick visit. We played around with some toys and stuff. But yeah, she's my sister's dog, but I take care of her. I dog sit once in a while for my sister. And sometimes if my sister goes out of town, then I'll have to go to her house to watch her cats too. So I'll have to like clean the cat litter and litter boxes and stuff and make sure they have food and water and all that kind of thing. So, but when my sister goes out of town, even though I stop in at her house to check on the cats, the dog, Freya, she stays with me because Freya does not like to be alone. Even though she's like a big dog, you know, she's really more like a puppy. She just doesn't like to be alone. So I'd put her on more of the live streams if she was, you know, here at the apartment. But the problem is that she does not like it when I'm giving attention to electronics. So even when I can't even be on my phone around Freya because she'll get in my face and lick my face. Like, she wants attention. So even when she was on my live stream that one time a couple years back, because I was watching her that day, and so I was doing a tea time live stream from my studio apartment, and throughout the whole time Freya was getting antsy because here I was talking to you guys and all she wanted to do was play. And so yeah, that was I can't do live streams with her. But yeah. Let's see. Thighcats Film says, Alex, did you ever realize Queen Mary has the same promenade deck windows as Britannic? No. I mean, I felt that Queen Mary had similar promenade deck windows to Titanic, but not specifically Britannic, no. Sir Topham Hat. Topham Hat. Topham. Is it Topham or Topham or Topham? It says, love your videos. They are very fun to watch. I hope you're doing well. I certainly am. I'm coughing a lot. I found out I'm allergic to a type of mold that grows during this time of year because it's autumn, so all the leaves fall from the trees, and when they get to the ground, because the ground is so soggy and moist, mold takes over and, you know, eats up the leaves and stuff. And it's so active that the spores, when they're in the air, makes my throat itchy. And so I've been taking this really powerful, like, allergy medication. And I actually didn't take it today because I felt a lot better. Before the live stream, I was fine. But now I'm like coughing again, so probably after the live stream I'm gonna have to take the allergy pill again. Skylar Moon says, a ghost series would really catch people's interest and also be captivating. It would, but my channel's about history. I don't want to make the channel about ghosts and the paranormal and stuff because that's not what I do, you know. And I am interested when people tell me their paranormal stories, but I'm not interested in going to seek out paranormal stories. I mean, that's the whole reason why I never volunteered again to be part of a paranormal investigative team. Because 9 times out of 10, or maybe even 9.5 times out of 10, I don't know if that's possible, it could, you know, paranormal experiences could be explained by something simple. It's really rare when I come across a story and I'm like, okay, that sounds really strange, you know, like there's stuff that happens in this apartment all the time that I go like, that was weird, but it's easily explainable, you know. So like when people ask me like, oh, Alex, you live in the same exact apartment complex you lived in when you first moved in, is your building haunted, you know, is your apartment haunted? I'm like, you know what, this apartment, this one right here, is not haunted at all. But the first one I lived in was. Even the last apartment, my studio, was not haunted. So, you know, I like to think I'm a skeptic. But being a skeptic doesn't necessarily mean you don't believe. You're skeptical of the stories. You're skeptical of, like, you know, how... You're skeptical of the explanation, you know. So when people automatically tell me, oh, I think I've seen a ghost or I've, you know, experienced something paranormal, my mind immediately goes to, okay, what could it possibly be besides a ghost, you know? And unless the story really jumps out as something that's very unexplainable, I otherwise don't normally admit it's a ghost. And I think that's why I didn't want to do the paranormal investigative team thing after they gave me the silent treatment, was actually because I was like, you know what, I don't think I'd really be that good on the team, because I'd constantly be like, oh, well, actually, it's not a ghost, it's this leaking faucet or something, you know? And they don't want that kind of person on their team. They want someone who's going to be like, okay, well, maybe the faucet's leaking because a ghost is making it leak. You know, so I don't know. But I'm not that interested in ghosts, oddly enough. Even though I've seen, like, paranormal stuff happen, and I am a believer now, I'm actually not that interested in it. But, sorry, I just keep coughing. I can't stop coughing. Ozzy says, Alex is up to 76,000 new subscribers. Yes, I think I just crossed that threshold into 76. Or at least I'm about to. Irving says, I enjoyed the Disneyland ghost stories. Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, that was the first time I ever considered that ghosts were real, was working at the Golden Horseshoe. That tea is so good. When it's brewed correctly, it's so delicious. But if I make any mistakes, it goes bitter and sour and, oh my gosh. History on the Lakes is a good show to watch. Is Ghost Adventure. I don't know if that's the same people, like, what's his name? The host, Brad, No. Anyway, if it's Ghost Adventures with an S, I don't believe in their show. I think almost everything they do is fake. Because I've seen a lot of their episodes. I've watched seasons upon seasons of their show. I've never believed anything that they've shown on their thing. But I'll tell you, like, okay, I'll tell you a YouTube channel I watch. Ghost Theory. It's a YouTube channel here on YouTube. Yeah, it's a YouTube channel, so it's here. Anyway, Ghost Theory. I like their channel. You know why? Because they don't, when something weird happens, they don't immediately go, oh, that was a ghost, or oh, that was something paranormal. They either just ignore it because it's easily something explainable, or they'll tell their audience, oh, we're not worried about that noise because that's explainable by such and such thing. In fact, it's very, very rare if they post a video where they've actually captured something they think is paranormal. But when they do, you know, they try to go through things about what could it be, well, you know, and they apply excuse me, a little bit. They apply a little bit of a scientific process to it by at least testing things. So, like, their most recent video, they were communicating with a ghost using, like, a REM pod, right? And the ghost would answer yes or no by, yes was like making the REM pod go off. And so they said, you know what, let's just make sure that this is real. So what they did was they said, okay, we're going to ask you all the same questions, but now we want to ask you to activate the REM pod if the answer is no. Otherwise, leave it silent. And indeed, the ghost responded to their same questions accurately to the first test. And that was the first time that I can recall that that's ever happened on their channel. So what I like about Ghost Theory is that they don't immediately jump to the fact that, oh, that's a ghost. And they also test things thoroughly to see, like, is that, you know, really a ghost, that kind of thing. And so, but what makes their show interesting, because I know people will be like, well, how interesting could a ghost show be if there's no ghosts, right? Well, what makes their shows interesting, first of all, is their humor. They're two really funny guys. But the other thing, too, is that the places they go are interesting. They go to a lot of old abandoned houses, abandoned structures, and for someone who likes watching urban exploration stuff on occasion, it's fun. It's fun to see it. So that's what draws people to their channel, is the urban exploration. And it's a highlight if they capture something that they think might be paranormal. So, yeah, that's the channel I watch. Gosh, I can't stop coughing. I'm definitely going to have to take an allergy pill after this. Barry says, hi Alex, glad to see you better from the last live chat. Sad to see the SS United States fate now sealed as an artificial reef. Shame they couldn't be saved and docked with Queen Mary. Yeah, I would have wished that they could have saved the SS United States. But a lot of people, you know, let me just get a drink of this real quick. I've heard a lot of people say they should put the SS United States next to the Queen Mary. No, I do not think that would be a good idea at all. Because the Queen Mary, she barely gets enough visitors to make her profitable. And she just did that, you know, last year. Imagine that. The last 30 to 35 years, she hasn't really turned a profit. At least none to speak of. And so, after 30 some odd years, she finally started turning a profit. She barely has enough people to keep her going. And then you bring in another ship, and those people who come to Long Beach go, okay, well, Queen Mary's expensive, touring the United States is expensive, which one am I going to choose? Right? So you got the same exact audience, but this time they're making a choice. So automatically you're cutting Queen Mary's visitation in half. At least. I mean, who knows? If SS United States is cheaper to explore than the Queen Mary, then most of Queen Mary's visitation is going to go to the SS United States. And vice versa. If Queen Mary's admission is cheaper than SS United States, people are going to choose Queen Mary. So it's a bad idea to have two ocean liners in the same area. It's best to have them far apart. I think SS United States really, really, really would have done better in, like, you know, like maybe moored somewhere along Manhattan or Brooklyn or something as a museum and hotel and entertainment complex. So I think that would have been the best for SS United States. But yeah, not next to Queen Mary. Five Caps Films. Yeah, it is sad when they demolish a structure that has a beautiful architecture to it. There was a time, you know, because you're talking about a power plant, there was a time when, especially in the 1920s, 1930s, power plants and stuff especially were built with this really nice architecture because the idea was, here's this thing, electricity, which, you know, has been around for 30 some odd years, you know, for the public, but it's still this miracle system that we use to power everything. And they want to show it off and make it grand. And so their power plants had beautiful architecture. A lot of times it was Art Deco Gothic architecture. And it was beautiful. But then over time, with industrialization and the normalization of things like electricity, people were just like, we don't need to build beautiful, you know, power plants. It just needs to be functional. So very utilitarian looking. That's kind of a sad thing. Bill, yeah, I have thought about covering the steamboats of the Yukon, but my previous steamboat video from the ones in Idaho did not do very well. So I try to make videos that appeal to people. So if nobody watches a video, I may not broach that subject again. So I don't know. If that Idaho steamboat video suddenly becomes popular, then it would give me the confidence I need to make more steamboat videos. Podcast films. No, I don't think I've ever seen the power plant you mentioned. Alright, what time is it? 2:21. So I think in the next 10 minutes I'll end the live stream, but for now we'll just kind of hang out. We'll give this a try. Okay. That one didn't have any of that really tough husk bit that I was worried about. Olympic? Aaron says, Alex, what is your favorite movie or series of movies? It's hard for me to say because there's a lot of movies that I would label as my favorite. But let's say it's a series of movies that I could watch over and over again without getting tired. Would probably be... Oh, I just thought of more that I could watch a series of that I would never get tired. Well, so I really like the Alien franchise. You know, Alien and then Aliens. Aliens being my favorite. And I mildly enjoy the rest of the movies in the series. I have not seen Alien Romulus. I know a lot of people are going to ask me, have you seen Alien Romulus? I have not yet. I have anxiety about going into movie theaters. I don't like the experience anymore. When I was younger, you could just pick any seat you want. You walk into the theater, you pick any seat you want. If you don't want to sit next to people, you don't have to. And usually, if there was a group of people, they would leave a seat space between you, so you didn't have to sit directly next to someone. Now, you have to, like, pre-book your seat in the theater. And they force you to sit next to people, and I can't do that. I can't. I just feel so... First of all, I feel very claustrophobic, and then second of all, I don't like sitting next to people. People bother me. So I haven't... I think the last time I was ever at a movie theater was when they released Avatar 2. And even then, I didn't really want to be there. I mean, I love Avatar, and I love Avatar 2, but I would prefer to watch those movies at home rather than a movie theater now. So, and in fact, I was so miserable during Avatar 2, I couldn't enjoy the movie because I was so miserable. So when Alien Romulus was coming out, even though I love the Alien franchise, I just said I'm not going to a movie theater to see it. I'll wait till it comes out on like Blu-ray or something, and then I'll get it. And I think someone is gonna buy the Blu-ray of it for me for Christmas, so I can't buy it for myself until then. So I'm probably not going to see Alien Romulus until 2025. I'm a little bummed out by that. But yeah, Alien Romulus or the Harry Potter movie series. Because I grew up on the Harry Potter movie series. I read the first book when I was a kid. And then I got halfway through the second book as a kid. And then I never got through any more books. I preferred the movies over the books. Yeah, I don't think, I mean, don't, you know, if you're like a Harry Potter book fan, don't take that personally. I was just a kid. And now as an adult, I have got so much on my plate. There's a bunch of other, like, grown-up books I'd prefer to read before I ever get into Harry Potter again. But yeah, the Harry Potter movie series, I feel like I could watch that, you know, 1 through 8, and then start over again with 1. And in fact, my friend Eric, he's been on my channel occasionally, but you probably haven't seen him for several years. He, up until this year, had never seen Harry Potter at all. He's 20, well, he's going to be 26 years old later this month. But yeah, he had never seen Harry Potter. So he and I were like watching it using like a video call. We were on a video call together watching the movies because he lives all the way in California and I'm all the way up here in Oregon, so I can't I can't be there to watch movies with him, but we do that virtually. I think you guys don't know this, but every Sunday, Eric and I hop on a video call and we'll watch a movie or we'll play video games. It's the only way that like we can maintain, our friendship and stuff. So, and I actually look forward to it. So every Sunday morning, I look forward to hopping on a video call, watching a movie with him. He doesn't know it, but tomorrow's movie is going to be The Dark Knight, or is it Batman Begins? Yeah, okay, The Dark Knight is the second movie. Batman Begins, so the first movie of the Christopher Nolan series. So yeah. And he doesn't know that's what we're watching. He doesn't like superheroes. So, but I did tell him a couple months ago. I was like, one day I'm going to get you to watch the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight series because it's really good. Even if you don't like superhero movies, it's a good series. So, yeah. Those are the two movie series I would choose. But individually, if you said, Alex, not a series, but a single movie, what's a movie that is your absolute favorite? I would say 1993 Jurassic Park. That is my absolute favorite movie. I could watch that over and over again. Completely love it. Oh, I didn't even... Aaron, yeah, I didn't even think about Star Wars. Gosh, yeah. I love Star Wars episodes 1 through 6. I also like the movie Rogue One. And despite a lot of people's hatred, I actually liked the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus. It wasn't the best. There were flaws, definitely, but I liked it. I don't know. Maybe it was because, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just love it. It was my childhood. Just loved it. But yeah. So, Star Wars episodes 1 through 6, Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and Rogue One. Love it. I have watched Mandalorian. I feel like Mandalorian, I like every other episode, but not all the episodes. So, alright, so let's see. Star Trek. I grew up on the original Star Trek movies, the ones with Captain Kirk, with, what's his name? William Shatner as Captain Kirk. I grew up with those movies, and my favorite of those is The Voyage Home, which I think is the 4th movie. And I really like that movie. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the whales. I don't know. I just love that movie. But if you were to ask me what my favorite Star Trek movies are, it would be the ones by J.J. Abrams, actually. I really liked the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. Those were cool. Okay. So let's see. People are saying Star Trek, Stargate, or even Japanese samurai films. Hello, Chase's Railway Lines. Mark says, yes, Jurassic Park is awesome. And Chris says, great documentary film to watch is Trinity and Beyond the Atomic Bomb movie. Interesting. But yeah. I also like, obviously, the Dark Knight series with Christopher Nolan directing. That was a good movie series. I watched those movies as they were coming out in theaters. Loved it. And I remember... I never saw Batman Begins, the first Christopher Nolan Batman movie. Because I was like, I don't like superheroes. I don't like superhero movies. I think at that time, the only one I could watch was the director's cut of Superman 2. The one with Christopher Reeve. I I liked the director's cut of that movie. The Richard Donner cut, they call it. But that's it. That was it. Well, actually, I did like Ninja Turtles. The 1990 Ninja Turtles movie. Okay, I like that one. I do. There's something about it. I just love it. But I can't stand the cartoons. So, anyway, so I never watched Batman Begins. But then, in 2008, The Dark Knight came out. The one with the Joker, played by Heath Ledger. And I remember where I watched it. I was actually in Laughlin, Nevada with my friends. And the movie was freshly in theaters, and my friends were like, oh, we want to see it. And I was like, oh, that's that Batman movie. And I saw the posters with like a blurry Joker on it because they didn't want to reveal his face, so it was blurry. And I was like, oh, this looks like it's going to be so dumb. And so I remember being dragged to that theater to watch it. And from the very first few seconds all the way to the very last few seconds of that movie, I was glued to that screen. I was like, okay, this was an awesome movie. And it made me want to see the first one. And I liked the first one, but the second one is the best because of the Joker. That was just great. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I was a teenager, I think, at that time. Yeah, I was. I want to say 16. But yeah. That was fun. Loved it. Alright. Oh, Ozzy says, Admiral, there be whales. Yeah, that's from Star Trek The Voyage Home. That's pretty funny. Oh, thank you so much, Aaron. That's so nice. And now I can give it a little heart. There we go. Yeah, this was a really good stream. I'm actually glad I did this because I hadn't talked to you guys in a while, and, you know, and I've been so busy. And then the last time I did the tea time stream, I had a really bad cough left over from that flu I had when I came back from New Orleans. And then that wet cough disappeared, and the dry cough from the allergies replaced it. So, yeah. But anyway, folks, I am gonna get going. I'm gonna take an allergy pill, and then I'm gonna check out this new computer I bought so I can set that up in the office, and then sometime this month will be the first train live streams and videos on my Alex the Railroader channel. And again, the link to my Alex the Railroader channel is in the description of this video. You just open up the description and it's right there. It says Alex the Railroader, and you can subscribe to that. And the first new videos you'll see are going to be live streams until I can edit together an update video. But otherwise, yeah, hopefully that goes well, because I've been looking forward to getting back into the train layout and getting it running again. So anyway, folks, thank you all so much for watching. This was so great to see you all again, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.